Mangulam Purusha Evedagam Sarvam Yadbhutam Yakshabhavyam Utamritatvasyeeshanaha Yadannenatirohati Etavanasya Mahima Ato Jayadamsya Purushaha Padosya Vishwabhutani Tripatasyaamritam Divi Tripaturdva Udai Purushaha Padosyeha Bhavat Punaha Tato Vishwam Vyakramat Sashananashane Abhi Tasmad Virada Jayata Virajo Adipurushaha Sajato Atyarichyata Paschad Bhumi Mato Puraha Yat Purushena Havisha Deva Yajnamatanvata Vasanto Asya Sidajam Grishma Idma Sharat Ravihi Saptasya Sanparidhayaha Sri Sapta Samidhat Krita Deva Yajnam Tanvana Abadnam Purusham Pashum Tam Yajnam Varjishi Kraukshanna Purusham Jatamagrataha Tena Deva Ayajanta Sajarishayashe Tasmad Yajnat Sarvahutaha Samvritam Prachadajam Pashudam Stadam Chakreva Yavyana Aranyan Ramyashe Tasmad Yajnat Sarvahutaha Richasamani Jagnire Chandadam Si Jagnire Tasmad Yajustasmad Ajayata Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Please remain standing as we have the pledge and the national anthem. I now introduce Shri from the Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, Shri Lalchand Dukhi ji.
Let me say namaskar to each one of you. I would just like us to raise our right hand as we take the pledge for the Varsha Pratipada Sansad. And I'll read, and if you can follow, you can do so. We stand as proud descendants of the Jahajis, living embodiments of Sanatan Dharma, armed with virtues of truth, discipline, and compassion. We stand ready to confront all obstacles that face us as we selflessly serve Ishwar, Dharti, and country. Through your kripa, awaken us to the wisdom to practice our dharma and protect our identity while embracing and respecting the diversity of those around us. Mold us into your instrument, He Bhagwan, and in these objectives, grant us victory. Namaste.
Please remain standing for the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago.
Islands of
Please be seated.
Jai Shri Ram! Jai Shri Ram! Jai Shri Ram! Har Har Mahadev! Trinidad Tobago Desh ki! Welcome to the Varsha Pratipada Sansad. I would like to make the comment that we started on time. Everybody, one big home for that. Oh. So that we'll all know every year when you come into Varsha Pratipada Sansad, be on time. It is my duty and pleasure to introduce our chairperson, our Adhyakshika for this evening. She is from the Chinmaya Ashram. She belongs to the country, but she is the progeny of the Ramkhilawan family. We know that very well-known name in education. And mother and father are both here. We thank them for this wonderful citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, Vani Ramkhilawan. I want to say one thing about her. At times, I respond by 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning to a letter, a post by Vani. Promptly a reply comes. That is all I have to say. The best introduction I could make of a child of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why today our theme is Dharmacracy, Enlightened Citizenship. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give this child a big blessing with your Om as you welcome her to the podium. Om.
Puja Swami Prakashananda, Acharya of Chinmaya Mission, Sri Raviji of Hindu Prachar Kendra, all heads of organizations, ladies and gentlemen present here this evening, as well as on Shabda Radio, Namaskar, Hari Om, and good evening to everyone. I stand before you this evening as a member of the Varsha Pratipada Sansad, Assembly on the Hindu New Year. Welcome to one and all to this, our 4th annual session. We have assembled here this evening as a mark of celebration and reflection as we usher in our Hindu New Year, a time of deep contemplation as we assess ourselves and our contribution to this land, our country, Trinidad and Tobago. This Sansad is a committee that was formed in 2012. It is a committee, not an organization, in management and bringing forth awareness of a common date of Hindus, our Hindu New Year. Our committee comprises the following members: the Amarjot Sabha, Astral, the Center for Indic Studies, Chinmaya Mission of Trinidad and Tobago, Hindu Prachar Kendra, the Hindu Students' Council of Trinidad and Tobago, Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, Jahaji Massacre Committee, Paramdham Ashram, Sewa International TT, and Vishwanath Hindu Cultural and Social Organization. We have prepared a wonderful program this evening that is reflective of the theme, Dharmacracy, Enlightened Citizenship. One that will be showcased in song, poetry, presentations, and an address that is representative of our collective thoughts and references from the Hindu scriptures. Our first item this evening will be presented by one of our member organizations, the Hindu Prachar Kendra, a song entitled Vayam Rashtre Jagriyam. It was recognized as the mantra of the year in 1996. Vayam Rashtre Jagriyam, on the altar of this land.
Namaskar. Vayam rastre jagriyam, Vayam rastre jagriyam, Vayam rastre jagriyam. Together hand in hand, children of this land, Vayam rastre jagriyam, building up this motherland. Together hand in hand, working with Dharma's plan, Vayam rastre jagriyam, Hamti anti ke santan. Securing faith and shaping our destiny, we the children of this land, on the altar of this land. Together, hand in hand, children of this land, Vayam rastre jagriyam. Whether through history or divine mystery, this rainbow country cradles humanity. Man is placed in our hand. Whether through history or divine mystery, can we do it now for man? Will we rock or wreck the cradle? Will we rock or wreck the cradle? Are we then going to fail on the altar of this land? Hamti anti ke santan. Together hand in hand, children of this land, Vayam rastre jagriyam. What it really takes. We are the citizens, we the country. We are what we dearly stake. We are the vision, we the reason. We are the duty, we the energy. We the offering, we are receiving on the altar of this land. Hamti anti ke santan. The most wanted man, the real foundation to build a nation the enlightened citizen, the hero in action, hero in action. Not only in the Senate, but every right step you take, the hero in action, the hero in action. Stop on the roadside to close a standpipe, a hero in action, a hero in action. Holding the family, molding community, hero in action, hero in action. Work in the farmland, feeding the nation, the hero in action, the hero in action. On the altar of this land, Humpty Antike Santan, we enlightened citizens. Thank you.
Within our audience this evening are 4 organizations who have heard about the Sansad and are contemplating joining our committee in 2016. They are seated here this evening as observers, and they are members of the Arya Samaj of Trinidad and Tobago, the Hindu Women's Organization of Trinidad and Tobago, Shri Parameshwari Durga Devi Ashram, and the Shaka Shakari Mandir. A special namaskar to you all. One of the elements of our program is recognizing the Hindu community events and achievements, as well as international community. To present a synopsis of these events this evening is Pandit Amarsi Prasad of the Amar Jyot Sabha, a member of the Sansad, as well as the Trinidad and Tobago Federation of Hindu Organizations. Please welcome him.
Sitaram and Namaskar to all of you. Swami Prakashananda ji, Sri Ravi ji, all our Pandits, all our spiritual leaders, spiritual head, Bhagwan's blessings to you. To the many religious leaders, the Pandits, Mandirs, Hindu organizations, groups, and individuals who have been working tirelessly to enlighten our citizens, we show goodwill, recognition, and acknowledgement for the tremendous seva that you have done, and pray that the work continues with even more zeal and enthusiasm for the benefit of the child, the home, the community, and our beloved country, Trinidad and Tobago. Many of you all present here today are part of the different organizations. Varsha Pratipada Sansad say to you Dhanyavad and Bhagwan's most wonderful blessings to you. Varsha Pratipada Sansad recognizes Chinmaya Ashram, where in just a few years Swami Prakashananda and his team have made a huge impact on the religious, social, and cultural life of Hindus and others in central Trinidad and all other parts of this wonderful land, through lectures, satsangs, yagyas, classes, training courses, and schools. Last year, the 21st Sri Chinmaya Mahasamadhi Aradhana Family Camp was held at the Hyatt Regency from July 29th to August 3rd, 2014. This was the first time this international camp was held in Trinidad and Tobago, with over 500 participants being enlightened in many aspects of our beloved Sanatan Dharma. The very sacred tradition of Tirat is again gaining momentum. And recently, Chinmaya Ashram has completed its Shiva Ganga Mahayatra, walking from Ganga Dhara in Blanchisseuse to Patiram Trace, Mandir in Pinal, on a very auspicious occasion of Maha Shivratri. This yatra started on Friday, 13th February, and ended on Shivratri Day, Tuesday, 17th February 2015. Thousands of citizens were definitely enlightened by the great sacrifice of the hundreds who took part in this wonderful yatra. Sisters and brothers, Tirat is rising again in Trinidad and Tobago. Tirat continued in the form of Hanuman Yatra, a program of the Trinidad and Tobago Federation of Hindu Organizations, the TTFHO. This very powerful and devotional program started in February 2013, more than 2 years ago. So far, we have visited many mandirs in North, Central, and South Trinidad, and once in Tobago. In these Hanuman Yatras, thousands of root, palm leaves, and other offerings are made to Sri Hanumanji during the chanting of powerful Hanuman mantras and Hanuman Chalisa. Citizens have been truly enlightened and blessed by this wonderful Hanuman Yatra. Seva. Youths of the Seva International Trinidad and Tobago have taken a noteworthy initiative. For the third consecutive year, their members visited 12 mandirs in North and Central Trinidad on Maha Shivratri night and distributed 160 siddhas to the very needy families. This initiative is now adopted as an annual Shivaratri Yatra. Great seva on an even greater night. Blessings to Seva International TNT. Technology. The Center for Indic Studies, CIS, is a non-profit organization dedicated to developing a decentralized knowledge network to propagate traditional knowledge systems of India in the fields of language, philosophy, and the arts. Toward this end, they have conceptualized a first of its kind innovation brainstorm called Innovation, aimed at catalyzing product development centered on Hindu cultural forms. The event was aimed at stimulating creative collaborations, drawing on the professional expertise of the community to realize useful products such as toys, books, videos, and teaching tools that would help to reinfuse dharmic cultural forms into day-to-day living. Media. The SDMS is another Hindu organization with its many mandirs, elementary and secondary schools, and Radio Jagriti. SDMS, or the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, has now added TV Jagriti and continue to serve its membership in a meaningful way. Varsha Pratipada Sansad congratulates the SDMS on this wonderful venture. International. Varsha Pratipada Sansad congratulates Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Sri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, has been immediately accepted internationally as one of the most powerful and charismatic in the world today. Varsha Pratipada Sansad recognizes that PM Modi has risen from humble beginnings to the highest position. We are particularly happy that Sri Modi ji, he has spent his childhood, youth, and early adult life in community work, serving Hindu Samaj and the nation. We deeply appreciate that in such a short time, Sri Modi was able to initiate and succeed in lobbying for yoga. The United Nations has declared June 21st as International Yoga Day. those who have served and now departed, those who sacrifice for others and noble causes and work for the upliftment of people, communities, country, and the world are real heroes. In our Hindu Dharma, or Sanatan Dharma, there are thousands who have passed on, including many of the indented laborers. Remember those who have passed on recently. Pandit Mahadev Sharma of Santa Clara Road, Prisal, Pandit Premchand Budram of Waterloo Road, Karapichaima, and Sri Ajit Prem Singh of Prem Singh's Puja Bhavan. Varsha Pratipada Sansad. We pray that Bhagwan inspire and bless all Hindus to live dharmic lives, fulfill all civic duties, and engage the children in good sanskar. एक बार बोलो श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय. एक बार बोलो श्री Trinidad and Tobago देश की जय. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Pandit Prasad. In 2014, we resolved to work towards our country in full health and wellness. An important strategy we recognized was to start with the child. We believed that the best way and the swiftest way to destroy our country starts with the cradle. To present a recap of the theme of 2014, The Child, Shall We Rock or Wreck the Cradle, is Dr. Vedavid Manik of the Vishwanath Hindu Cultural and Social Organization, a member of the Sansad.
Special Hari Om, Sitaram, and Namaskar to everyone seated here today. On behalf of the Vishwanath Hindu Social and Cultural Organization, we send warm regards to the entire Hindu community on this Varsha Pratipada. When we commenced Varsha Pratipada back in 2012, we had decided that this should be a forum for the education and upliftment of Hindus in this country, as well as of our general citizens, voicing our issues that are relevant to the time. At the end of 2013, with the media full of many, many horrific stories of abuse of children within the homes, within the schools, and within the communities, last year, we decided that we will make our theme for that year, The Child, Shall We Rock or Wreck the Cradle on the altar of this land? A group of dedicated Hindus gathered here last year at this very spot, and we voted on several resolutions that we as Hindus should adopt within our everyday life. I've prepared a short video presentation recapping those memories, and I hope that it will bring fond memories and enjoyment to you.
Valmiki ji in the Ramayana calls the child as Vamshakaraha, the propagator, the perpetuator of the family. The family is the most important unit of society. If the child is saved in the family, the society is saved.
Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pare anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pare pratipashya tatha pare pratipashya tatha pare. For inspiration, look in the mirror, my Nachiketa. Jata, restore your nata. You could bring down Ganga from Devaloka. You could make Yama give you moksha, my Nachiketa. For inspiration, look in the mirror, my Nachiketa. For inspiration, look in the mirror, my Nachiketa. Come back to my Gaudi, I'll sing you that Lodi. You played on the Murali. Come back to my breast, wish you and Sita blessed. When you face Ravan's test, let me put the kajal, surely you will see. When you put the kajal, you will see. Avatar Nachiketa, for inspiration, look in the mirror, my Nachiketa. For inspiration, look in the mirror, my Nachiketa.
Effort more radical in its potential for saving the world than the transformation of the way we raise our children. It is in our hands, the child is in our laps, and we can save the world only through children. This is the onus placed on all Hindus, on all Trinbagonians, on all the peoples of the world.
And with those memories, I would just like to urge everyone that let us not make the child the issue for 2014 only. Let us focus on our children every single day for the years to come, because they are the generation that will take us ahead in the future. Thank you very much.
And just as Dr. Manik has said that the child is the future of our nation, our youth also are the future of our nation. Many of our presenters this evening are indeed youth, and that was clearly demonstrated by Dr. Manik. They are professionals and masters in their own fields of expertise. We also take this opportunity to recognize that preparing for an event of this magnitude is no small feat. It was the youth that did the pre-preparations, from administrative assistance to media arrangements to even raking leaves in the car park. This evening, they are also here in technical capacities of sound, live streaming, and projections. I ask you to give them a hearty round of applause. We'd also take the opportunity to recognize within our audience Dr. Shivananda Patnaik, Professor Narayan Singh, Pandit Sirju, Mr. Devakinanan Sharma, and Mr. Jo Ramkisoon, and Ms. Chandrandi Jagrup. Our next segment, presented once again by youth, Revanti Laksing. He is a social worker with the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh, chairman of Seva TT International, and advisor to the Hindu Students' Council. Currently, he is the managing director of Larissa Technology Solutions Limited. The next segment is entitled Hindu Perspectives, which flags issues of concern of the Hindu community. Please welcome.
Namaskar. The theme of the Varsha Pratipada Sansad is Dharmacracy, Enlightened Citizenship. So as we met and we discussed various issues, we took the issues bearing in mind enlightened citizenship. one of the major issues of the year that we felt we had to deal with was the Ebola outbreak. So we have international issues and we have local issues. On the international scene, we thought that Ebola was actually a global threat. It is one of those diseases where the mortality is so low, right? Out of, as the statistics will show, out of every 100 that was infected, almost 60 died. That is the level of the mortality. But the Sansad recognizes the contributions of the African countries. We thought that the African countries made a great economic and social sacrifice to contain Ebola within its borders and not have it spread throughout the world. One such example is the case of Ghana. Ghana gave up the African Cup of Nations in order to protect its borders and to protect the rest of the world. Now, Ghana was preparing for this international cup for some time before, and it was very important for their economy. But they gave that up in order to stop the spread of Ebola. Next. Right, so you'll see here, right, there were about 24,700 suspected cases, of which almost 15,000 were confirmed, and at least 10,000 people died. That's how bad Ebola was. Now, you'll look at this graph, and inside the box, you'll see between September and February, where the cases confirmed moved from just about 1,000 to just over 10,000. That's the level of cases we had. And you'll see an arrow showing just about the time Trinidad decided that it will continue with its carnival. Now, we understand that the World Health Organization would have been sending out precautions. There are things that were being put in place. But we made a conscious decision at such an early stage, because if you watch the graph, you'll see at such an early stage that we are going ahead with our carnival, no matter what happens after. And we'll see the amount of people that died after that decision. So, Trinidad and Tobago considered seriously the risk of Ebola to Trinidad and Tobago economy. We determined that we had everything in place to mitigate this risk and continue with carnival. But did we consider the risk that we put the entire the entire human race in, with people from all over the world coming to Trinidad, right? We created something. We have something that brings people all over the world. So we created that potential. We continued with that potential for the disease to spread. Were we good citizens? Next. The next issue we took into consideration was this San Fernando Carnival wine. Now, everyone knows about this Carnival wine, where the opposition leader had his indiscretion with a young lady in San Fernando. Now, our conversation have been almost solely focused on the opposition leader. But are we, as Hindus, speaking about the change in culture and the fact that minors are on the streets in a sexually charged environment for over 2 days? All the fetes before, right? Now, there's a lot going on about people's rights and people's freedoms and the changing of the culture and that kind of thing. But are we discussing that younger people with their hormones, their physiology, take more risk than older people? Are we discussing that there can be serious consequences, right, when younger people not able to control the urges and the feelings that they have as much as older people are? So that was a very important issue, we thought. We thought that our conversation has been so focused on politics, and we have totally ignored the social and the other cultural aspects of what we have. Moving on, one of the other issues we took up was our view of the scriptures. And it's something very close to me. Dealing with youths regularly, I often get asked the questions, were scriptures real? Are the stories real? Was Ram a real person? Was Krishna a real person? Did Hanuman go and carry a mountain? All these questions constantly come up in our mind. And I've found that the education system that we have lend our youths to doubt our scriptures, to doubt their value. Even if they don't see the actual, if these things actually happen, they even doubt the value of it. So coming up with it, we decided to just do some research, and we found that Ayurvedic medicine is now being researched as a complement to modern medicine. 50 years ago, it was taboo to use Ayurvedic medicine. Yoga has now been integrated into all mainstream cultures and recognized globally. And Pandit Amar alluded to June 21st as the date chosen for International Yoga Day. Next. So I'll just read for you what was said at the United Nations General Assembly. Yoga is an invaluable gift of India's ancient tradition. It embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, restraint and fulfillment, harmony between man and nature, a holistic approach to health and well-being. It is not about exercise, but to discover a sense of oneness with yourself, the world, and the nature. By changing our lifestyle and creating consciousness, it can help us deal with climate change. That's what the UN thought, right, of this. And this is actually on the United Nations website. So moving along, that's most of the international issues. But then we had one very important local issue, one local issue that's very dear to us, and that's the issue of Vishnu Singh. Now, who is Vishnu Singh? Vishnu Singh is a national scholarship winner, 19 years of age, and our first local international master of chess. And to put it to you in cricketing terms, which we all know, Vishnu right now is like a Brian Lara in terms of the chess world, right? He's surpassing everyone. So the issue is Vishnu Singh was bypassed by the chess board as the chessboard nominee for Sportsman of the Year. So every year we have Sportsman of the Year, and each board, the cricketing board, will put forward 2 nominees for cricket. The Football Federation will put forward 2 nominees. The chess board will put forward two nominees. Vishnu was bypassed. Now, Vishnu was bypassed in favor of Ryan Harper and his coach, Joshua Johnson. Now, let's explore this a little bit. In 2014, this is Sportsman of the Year 2014. Vishnu, in January, won the National Junior Champion. Johnson, who was chosen, came second to Vishnu. In March, he played the sub-zonal and won a Candidate Master. Candidate Master is like Pollard. Not quite Bravo yet, but it's like Pollard. Right? In May, he won the Indian Arrival Day tournament, and Johnson came second again. In June, at Cape, Vishnu won an open scholarship for science. In July, he won the 3rd national qualifier. In August, he won the Caribbean Chess Carnival. In September, he won the Paladin Open, and Harper, who was his 2nd nominee, placed below Vishnu. In October, he won the Southern Chess Club Open. Harper came second. In November, Vishnu won the championship title. Johnson came second and Harper came third. In December, Vishnu won the International Master title. This makes Vishnu the only international master we have in Trinidad and Tobago, we ever had in Trinidad and Tobago. Vishnu is also the youngest international master in the Caribbean and the highest rated international master in the English Caribbean. So he didn't just score 400 or 500 runs, he had the most runs too. Right? So Vishnu, why this is very important to us? Vishnu, we felt, was done an injustice. His qualifications for what he should have been given way surpasses those who were nominated ahead of him. And on top of that, Vishnu Singh is a product of the Hindu Prachar Kendra and Bal Ramdila. Vishnu is also a trained Shikshak of the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh, having gone through 3 levels of training at camp and is now a teacher at those camps. Vishnu is a child of our community and is a community worker. He's a worker, so our question is, why was Vishnu bypassed as the chess nominee for Sportsman of the Year? It may seem that this is a trivial issue, who cares about chess? But the reality is, right, this is an injustice that was put forward to one of our Hindus. What are we going to do about it? And also, if Vishnu was nominated as the chess nominee, he also had a chance which, based on the qualification we see here, a very good chance of being the national nominee for Sportsman of the Year. So having said this, these are something for us to think about. These are some of the things that were of concern to the Varsha Pratipada Sansad committee. There were many, many more issues, and we'll explore them as the year go on, but these are the few we'd like to put forward to you. Namaste.
Iyam Vedi, this land is my altar. I am the salt. I pledge myself and soul. It is a concise, inspirational piece which acts as a Hindu directive towards enlightened development. Presented once again by the Hindu Prachar Kendra, this is the mantra of the year, 1991, Iyam Vedi.
Iyam Vedi Parovantaha Prithivya Ayam Yajno Bhuvanasya Nabhi Ayam Yajno Bhuvanasya Nabhi Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, 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 Krinvantu Vishwamaryam. This land is my altar, I am the salt, I pledge myself and soul, my head, my heart, my hand, for this my beloved land. This land is my altar, I am the salt, I pledge myself and soul, my head and heart and hand, for this my beloved land. Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, Krinvantu Vishwamaryam. Every little action is a Hindu offering, like the ancient rishis. Every little action is a Hindu offering, like the ancient rishis. Brave and bold as Ram, wise and strong as Sham. Brave and bold as Ram, wise and strong as Sham. Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, Krinvantu Vishwamaryam. Invoke this ancient mantram to stir the Hindu heart. Invoke this ancient mantram to stir the Hindu heart. Bless us as we march on. The mission must now start. The mission must now start. And I must play my part. And I must play my part. The mission must now start. And I must play my part. And I must play my part. Krinvantu Vishwamaryam, 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 Krinvantu Vishwamaryam.
you footprint, where you look at your everyday actions to give you an index of how dharmic you are. To chair this segment is Dr. Arvind Singh. He's the founder whose mission is to reignite the Hindu tradition of critical thinking by building the local knowledge base on ancient Hindu philosophy and poetry and finding creative ways of re-infusing cultural forms into everyday life.
नमो नमः कथं सन्ति सर्वे सर्वे कुशलिनः सन्ति सर्वे रोमहर्षिताः सन्ति. Is everybody excited to be here today in our Varsha Pratipada festival, our Varsha Pratipada assembly? Today what we're going to do is a little bit different. We're going to talk about your karman footprint, as Vani said. Now, why are we talking about our karman footprint? The theme this year is Dharmacracy, and we're talking about dharmic living and so on. So how are we now going into karma? So all of us, like our friend here, Mr. Shikadawan, finds ourselves faced by a lot of choices in the world. We have choices, consumer choices, we have political choices, we have social choices, corporate choices, and environmental choices. And we go through these things, and there are a lot of other intangible things that infuse our everyday lives that we have questions about. So we go around and we wonder, in all these spheres, what is the right thing to do? How do I behave? So what do? We draw upon several things: our ideals, our experiences, our conscience, our own sense of right and wrong. And if these things make it from our head to our hand, if they translate from our ideas to our actions, and they're the right ideas translating into the right actions, then we say we have lived dharmically. These are dharmic actions. So we're going to play a little game now, and hopefully this will waken you up a little bit before we have the main discourse. So it's just a simple multiple choice game. Every answer carries some points. So you pick your answer, and then you keep track 5 questions. You get a score out of 30. Right? So you could use your phone to keep score. So this is an example of what we're going to do. So the question: you're going to a hike or to the beach somewhere, and you need to carry some bottled water. So what is it that you would normally do? Go and buy a case of bottled water. You'd fill up your bottle at home, or you're going to say, just buy one big bottle and carry some cups, and I'll use that. So pick your answer, and you're going to get some points. 0, 5, 3. So all you need to know is the points. You get your points. If you can't remember all of them, you could use your phone. Just use your dial pad or your calculator. So you could take out your phone now. Right, for the first time in the mandir, we're asking you to take out your phone. Take out your phone, and you could just keep track on the dial pad. You could dial 5 or 3 or 0, and you'll keep a running track of the score. And at the end of the game, you're going to have, you add up all, you'll get a score out of 30, and this will be a dharmic index. You don't have to tell anybody it, you just keep track of it. Right? It's just a game, nothing serious, so if you don't make any points, well, So, first question, everybody has all their phones, everybody keeping track. You're ready for the first question? The first question, you just finished painting. What are you going to do with the excess paints and so on? So you could wash the brushes and the bucket and so on and keep it. Maybe you want to plant some plants in the bucket. You store some nails and screws and whatever. You could let them dry out and then throw them away. Or you could go and paint your neighbor's dog. The dog always coming around by you, and you want to teach him a lesson, so you're just waiting for him with the paint. Right? So what it is you're going to do? Everybody got their answer? You all have your answer? Good. So those of you who are thinking that, washing out the buckets and so on are the best thing to do, that's actually one of the worst things to do, because paint is classified as a hazardous waste. So the recommended way is to let them dry out and then throw it away. You don't want the paint going into the water system. Good. Next question. You have some old papers and household and leaves and twigs and so on from your yard, and you need to get rid of them. So what are you going to do? You're going to dump it, you're going to burn it, or compost it, or recycle it. Compost and recycle and so on. Composting is a form of recycling. Right? So which is the one you're going to do? And if you find yourself in between, normally recycle the papers, but I burn the household rubbish. And in Trinidad, we love to burn things, right? You see it all the time on the highways. Now, so everybody got their answer? Yes? Well, this one is obvious. Now, this is not what you think you should do, right? This is what you actually do. So don't try to get away and put what you think you should do. Your score is what you actually do, right? Good. Next question. When buying items, what do you consider? If you really want it, like your new phone or some new clothes or so on, you really want it, do you look at the social and economic implications? Is it buy local instead of buying foreign? You decide you're going to eat kaimit and Portugal and so on, and you're not going to eat apples and grapes, strawberries. Or do you look at the worldwide social and environmental implications? You say, well, this shoe I want really is made by in some sweatshop in China, or these phones have capacitors that use materials mined by children in Africa. Do you say, look at those things? Do you really examine, what you are doing, or you just say, well, I need, we always need things, but they're not really needs, they're wants. So do I really need these things? What is it that you take into consideration? Everybody has your answer? Good? How are you all doing so far? Good? Nice? So, question 4. Second to last question. You have a business and you hit some administrative roadblocks. So it could be anything. You're building your house and you're taking long at the regional corporation, and you need to get something sped up. So what are you going to do? Are you going to find out what are the real procedures? Maybe you didn't do something right, find out what is the real cause, and you put the proper things into place. You're going to see, reach out through your network, say, well, this one uncle working inside there, I could get him to check this out for me and see if he could put it on top of the pile. So you're going to do that, or you're going to just go down and say, well, who's in charge, and find out, well, what it is this person really like. Let me see if I could grease the wheels a little bit, right? So what would you do, or what have you typically done? You're going for your driver's license. I'm sure nobody pay for the driver's license here, right? Right, so which is the one you're going to do? Everybody has your answer? You have your answers? Right? Last question. Now you're going to get some bonus marks for this question. You realize your actions have far-reaching consequences, and I hope this is what you realize after today's sessions. You realize your actions have far-reaching consequences. We are no longer in little villages where our actions just stay right in our locality, right? We buy things from China, from India. We are no longer just sons of the soil. Our lives are infused with everyone else's from across the globe. So what are you going to do? Are you going to resolve now to make more informed choices all around, right? You're going to examine all the details of your choices and really see what you need to do to be beneficial to the whole world. Are you going to pretend you didn't just come to this thing and you're just going to continue the way you're going, right? You don't want to hurt your head too much. Or you're going to change a few things. Wherever it's convenient, you change it. Yeah, I could change some things, but some things, well, I can't really do without that, I can't do without a new phone every year, or I can't do without this particular Coach bag or Michael Kors bag, or these sorts of things, right? So, which is the choice you will make? Everybody you have your answers? right? Now, if you made the choice A, there's no right or wrong choice, right? This is how you used to behave. Hopefully it will change in the future, unless you know you really made choice, you were really acting as choice, then we don't want you to change it. Good, so everybody, do you have your scores? Out of 30, everybody has their scores? Yes? So let's see how you did now. 0 to 9. You don't have to raise your hands or anything, we don't want to know, right? So 0 to 9, you are Hiranyakashipu. You don't care about anything except yourself, right? It's all about me. When I go, I don't care anymore. Yes? Nobody? Good. 10 to 20, you are Kumbhakarna. You consume all the resources of the world, but you are ignorant of it. Right? You're sleeping. So wake up. You have to now make some changes. 21 to 25. I see some people smiling. You are Yudhishthira. You know what you have to do, right? You know what the right choices are, but sometimes, desire gets the better of you. So most of the time you're thinking about, what is good and, don't drink bottled water and all these things and plastic bottles and recycling and so on. But when you really want something, sometimes you just have to have it. Right? You even gamble away your family for it, right? Hopefully not, but And 26 to 30, you are Gandhiji. Every action comes from deep reflection, conviction, and consideration for the greater good. So, any Gandhijis in the audience? Good, 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 good. We have a few. Good. So that's the end of this segment. I hope you all got a good sense of where you stand. And I say this is not something that you have to tell anybody your score. It's just a game. But you'll see that in even little everyday actions, the dharmic principles have to be lived. And really, I hope in the next segment, which is the main discourse, this would have wakened you up to really pay attention now and take home some of the messages. Thank you.
Juncture where the presentation that we've been eagerly and ardently waiting to hear is upon us. Pujya Swami Prakashananda has been the voice of the Varsha Pratipada Sansad for the last 4 years. This year is indeed special in that he is representing our thoughts as we came together in Samvad, which literally transcribes into meaningful expressions of thoughts. Swamiji will also include, in line with that, excerpts from our Shastras, our Hindu scriptures, which give depth and meaning to our theme this year, Dharmacracy, Enlightened Citizenship. Please welcome.
Thank you very much, Vani. Hari Om, Sitaram, Namaste to all. And I must say it is good to see all of you here again once more. Welcome to this Sansad. Our topic this year you have seen is Enlightened Citizenship. The Sansad met and we discussed this topic, and many views were expressed, and I tried to include some of those views in this talk also. Of course, If there is anything wrong with it, it is my fault and not the fault of the Sansad. Okay, I put in a lot of thoughts of my own into it. By dint of birth, we have all become citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But to become an enlightened citizen, well, that is altogether a different matter. Hindus have gathered here once more this year to remind all Hindus, and indeed to remind all the peoples of Trinidad and Tobago, of the enormous responsibility that citizenship places on all of us to adopt the basic and fundamental principles of Dharma in actualizing our roles as citizens of this land and of the world. Our country will only become great when each one of us step up and out from the barest and most minimal definition of citizenship which we all live right now and which is conferred by birth only, and start fashioning a new and responsible relationship with the nation. Democracies the world over are gripped by the idea of individualism and selfish hoarding. Democracy is designed to protect rights and citizens of rights and freedoms of all of us. Dharmacracy, or enlightened citizenship, on the other hand, while it doesn't preclude rights and freedoms, requires us, of all of us, to pay attention to our duties and responsibilities to Trinidad and Tobago and to the world. In the fulfillment of our individual and collective responsibilities, everybody's rights and freedoms are protected, but not vice versa. The ethos of democracy, of Dharmacracy, is very lucidly captured by Puja Swami Vivekananda when he says, "They alone live who live for the others in the world. The rest are more dead than alive." This is the ethos of Dharmacracy. Living for others, living for the world, living for my nation. Bhagavan Shri Ram says to Lakshmana in Ramayana, "Janani janma bhumischa swargadapi gariyasi," that my mother and my motherland surpass even heaven in importance. Our minds as citizens should be fixed on this land of Trinidad and Tobago. Every citizen has to lift himself into a more elevated relationship with the nation. We call ourselves engineers, doctors, lawyers, and taxi drivers, teachers, etc. But first, we have to find ourselves as a citizen of this land. We have to identify ourselves as a citizen first, and then as an engineer, doctor, and all the other things. First, we have to be a citizen identifying fully with the welfare of Trinidad and Tobago, and then perform the role as an engineer, doctor, lawyer, teacher, taxi driver, whatever. I am a citizen first, performing that particular task, rather than I am that particular thing and then a citizen. Right now, being born into the idea of individual rights and freedoms, we only think of exploiting, taking, and hoarding. That is the culture in which we are born into. Enlightened citizenship involves a very serious and mental attitudinal change in all of us. That is what it requires of us. Just as I presently care for myself and my small group, I have to care for the entire nation, expanding the circumference of my caring to all in my nation and across the world. We're not living in a little bubble anymore. We are living in a global village. When I eat, I never think that my kidney cells will be nourished, that my hair follicles will be nourished, that my heart cells will be nourished. I don't think about individual cells in my body. When I eat, I think I will be nourished, not this cell or that cell. I think this body will be nourished. In other words, in the pursuit of the welfare of the entire body, all the other cells are taken care of. Our present approach to life is we are thinking about our individual selves in forgetfulness of the entire social organism to which we belong. And we try to seek our own welfare. But in doing that, we are forgetting the welfare of the whole organism. The philosophy behind enlightened citizenship is, I have to think about the welfare of the entire organism, wherein which the welfare of all the individual cells that make up that organism will be taken care of. In seeking the welfare of the whole nation or the world, the individual cells or the persons of the nation or the world, they are taken care of. Queen Kunti gives one of the most potent instructions to the Pandavas at the end of her householder's life in the Mahabharata. She implores them to work for the welfare of the nation. And what is important is how she says. She says, Dharmete dhiyatam buddhihi manaste mahatastucha. That keep your intellect, she tells the 5 Pandavas, keep your intellects lodged in dharma and expand your heart and embrace the whole world and serve that world. This is the requirement of enlightened citizenship. When we give up our own selfish ends, when we give up our own selfish needs in favor of the needs and ends of the entire social organism, the nation to which we belong. Anchor your intellects in dharma and have bigness of heart, she tells them, and serve the nation. Equality in democratic nations in which, like the one in which we live, means equality before the law and equality of opportunity or equal opportunity. This is when we speak about equality in democratic nations, this is what we mean. But I want to ask you, you think when we speak about equality before the law or equality or equal opportunities for all of us, which one of those two things really have you really seen in your life? Equality before the law? Well, it is only an ideal which will never be, or which will never manifest truly in any democratic state. And equal opportunities, you know, even though that is protected by law, in a country like this, and in all democratic countries, it is who you know. Human selfishness makes both of them unattainable. I say, equality is to be found only when we own up to the idea of responsible citizenship. Let us look at exactly what is this responsible citizenship and how it will translate into real life for all of us. Dharmacracy calls for a psychic maturity and social responsibility with regard to the environment, the people, the other faiths, law, governance, civic behavior, and personal behavior, like personal motivation, intention, outlook, and attitude, and so on. First, let us see nature and the environment. How would enlightened citizenship translate or be practiced with regard to nature and the environment? Hindus hold the land to be sacred altar. An altar is a place where we make selfless offerings. So our land is an altar. It's a place where we make selfless offerings. And we are only entitled to prasad after we have made offerings to that altar. This is the teachings of the Shastras. Yam Vedi, you saw in the mantra of the year. The land is an altar. The offering is first made and then prasad is taken. We have evolved a culture, if you see, however, of exploiting and ravishing and then trying to restore. We exploit the earth. We don't consider the earth as any Vedi or any such thing. We exploit, we ravish, and then after we have made all the mistakes, we try to restore that. And then what? We fail, of course, to restore things to their original state. And this is because the basic and fundamental dharmic principle of the sacredness of the earth, Yam Vedi, is omitted from our formula of development and progress. How can I not desecrate the land if I do not see the land as sacred? And how can I desecrate the land if I see it as sacred? Here in Trinidad and Tobago, it is virtually impossible to see an ocelot, a deer, a squirrel, an agouti, a monkey, a macaw, any one of them in the wild. It is virtually impossible. And because I saw them as, like people all across the world are seeing them, things to be poached, to be killed, to be sold, all of that. They all belong to the land. But I don't see them as sacred, belonging to the land. I see them as something to exploit. I don't see the land as a Vedi. I don't see that I have a responsibility to protect them. Animal poaching is such a big problem all over the world. Deforestation and mining, killing of rivers, oil extraction, and environmental pollution all have their toll on the earth. Temperatures are rising, glaciers are melting, water levels are rising everywhere. Because Yam Vedi is missing from our psychic formula. Slowly, slowly, every day, we are inching our way to our own self-destruction because we don't see the earth as our altar. Fracking as a method for exploiting oil. Now, it's very frightful if you see the literature on fracking. They are actually making fissures down below the earth where there are no fissures, no cracks in the lower shale rocks of the earth. Where there are no cracks, they are making cracks to take out oil. It is directly connected to so much of earthquakes all across the globe. But nobody's stopping. Because the earth is not a Vedi. The earth is not sacred. The earth is to be exploited. These are the citizens that we have molded ourselves into. In Trinidad, right here in Trinidad and Tobago, we have one of the dirtiest islands in the Caribbean. I have been to so many of these islands. We have one of the dirtiest islands right here. Why? Because we have no reverence for the earth. We indiscriminately throw garbage, throw everything everywhere. You should just go on our street here, you'll see. That reverence for the earth is not there. Yam Vedi. So what a powerful teaching of the rishis. And in actualizing our citizenship, if we do not lift our consciousness to this level, where we consider our earth, our country, to be sacred, then I am certainly not going to fulfill my role as a citizen. I will live the barest minimum of a citizen. What is that? I am born there, so I am a citizen. The barest it's existing on the fringes, actually. I don't have any solid existence. People and society. Whatever is present on the earth belongs to all the peoples of the earth. We have subscribed to a philosophy that whoever adds value to the resources gets the benefit. Taking and hoarding has become acceptable to us. But Dharma makes it incumbent on all of us to give dan, to give help to society, to give back to the society. It comes from recognizing that even if I was responsible for producing wealth, I have to come to this realization. Even if I was responsible for producing wealth, I could not have done it without the help of all the other members of my society. And I could not have really produced things. I could have only taken them from the earth. Therefore, I have a duty to give back. There was an infrastructure already in place which allowed me to obtain wealth. And so part of that wealth belongs to the society or the polity which provided all the elements of that infrastructure. The other part belongs to the earth. In following this dharma, one develops vairagya, gets rid of myness and I-ness, and so completes his spiritual journey as well. Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. I seek my moksha through serving the world, through serving humanity. Another form of wealth is education. If I have received education, especially in a country like this, it is surely at the cost of the state. I therefore owe a debt to the nation. Swami Vivekananda says very nicely, so long as millions live in hunger and ignorance, I hold every man a traitor to the nation who, having been educated at the expense of the nation, pays not the least heed to anybody in the nation. It means we take education also, and so we all have a duty to give back. Law and society. Enlightened citizenship or Dharmacracy requires all of us to adhere to the rule of law. Why? Because law holds the society together. Dharayate iti dharma. That which holds the society together is called as dharma. And it is law that holds the society together. Dharma is that which holds things together. It is the law that holds society together. It is adherence to law which allows us to drive on the highway, for instance. If we abandon the law, it becomes impossible to drive on the highway. Enlightened citizenship protects the rule of law because it holds the society together. That does not mean that we subscribe to weak or unjust law. Please pay attention to that. We subscribe to the rule of law, but it doesn't mean that we subscribe to unjust, unfair law, poor law. It becomes the duty of all of us living in a jurisdiction to work to make the laws better. Then I am actualizing my citizenship. If I see some law is not working to our advantage, I have to try to change that law. Take the law, for instance, which allows advertising of cigarette and alcohol and all such things. It is a poor law, very poor. Alcoholism and cigarette smoking cause disintegration of society. It is adharma. It becomes the duty of all of us, therefore, to work towards changing those laws. Protecting the rule of law does not proscribe or preclude the endeavor to change bad laws. We all have to work towards it. It becomes our duty as citizens to change such laws, or even a political system which doesn't promote equity and justice. But do I feel for the nation? Do I feel for the number of broken homes caused by alcoholism? Do I feel for the number of families who have lost loved ones because of drunk driving? When I start feeling for the nation, when I start feeling for these families, and I start doing something for them, doing something to change the system in which we live, then I'm actualizing my citizenship. Not just sitting by there idly. Civic responsibility. We all have a civic responsibility as citizens to actualize my citizenship. An ideal citizen not only has a duty to fulfill his family responsibilities, but also his civic responsibility. He has to go out and vote, for instance. Quite often I hear people saying statements like, I'm not going to vote. Or, I'm not going to vote for this party because they didn't do anything for us. This is a clear symptom of deficient or miserly citizenship. It is anarya, ignoble. Citizenship requires us to think society, think about society. And not to just say, make a statement, I'm not going to participate. We are receiving benefits from the society every moment. While we are enjoying right now the electricity which is making this hall AC, there are people who are working in tea and tech. We are very nicely sitting comfortably. There are others who are doing work. Think of the welfare of Trinidad and Tobago. I have to vote. And in making my decision who to vote for, my only consideration should be dharma. Two parties will always be there. Ram had to choose between Sugriva and Vali. Krishna had to choose between Karna and Arjuna. Krishna chose Arjuna. Ram chose Sugriva. Neither were perfect. Arjuna was not perfect and Sugriva was not perfect. But Bhagwan had to choose. Dharma dictates that we choose the one who will better promote dharma or general goodness in society. The one that will hold society together and not cause decadence and decay in values. See Krishna's attitude and his astuteness in encouraging Arjuna to fight against adharma in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna argues that if I fight, I will kill the Kauravas. It will lead to death of fathers. That will lead to widows in the society. That will lead to single parent homes. Absence of fathers in families will lead to the absence of discipline for children. And that will bring about a general decadence in society. Arjuna's argument is right. Therefore, I should not fight. Dharme nashte kulam krishnam. Adharmo bhivavatyuta, he tells in the first chapter. The society will become corrupt because all families will become corrupt. This is Arjuna's conclusion. However, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells him, you stand up and fight. He can see, Bhagavan can see, that the fighting and the removing of the Kauravas is a lesser of two evils that are going to result. If he fights, yes, there will be single parent families. There will be absence of discipline among children. Because fathers will die. But if he doesn't fight, the Kauravas will rule. Kaurava rule will lead to a total disintegration of society. And there will be no family at all. What do you talk about indisciplined families? There will be no family at all. It is lesser of the two evils for Arjuna to fight. That which causes disintegration is adharma. Kauravas ruling would cause further disintegration of society than if Arjuna fights and there are single parent families. So the options before us, even in Shastras when we see, the options are always, when the one with Bhagavan chose, he told Arjuna to fight. That also is looking bad. And the options will always be like that. Sugriva was the greatest coward in Ramayana. Always running. When Ravan was taking Sitaji across, Sugriva saw, and he, bechari, she gone. He did nothing. Yet Rama befriended that Sugriva. He kept Sugriva on his side. Because between Sugriva and Bali, Sugriva is the lesser of the two evils. So we have a duty. You can't say no. All of them bad. All of them, as a citizen, you have to make choices and make your contribution in whichever way, a small way, to the uplift of the country. If there is this disintegration of society, my very citizenship is in jeopardy. That is why we have millions of displaced people all across the world today. Sometime or the next, people showed a disregard for their civic responsibility to choose the one more likely to promote dharma, and they chose those who promoted adharma. And so we have millions and millions of displaced people all across this world. Because citizens neglected their civic duty. Our civic duty does not end with putting a better government in power, but also making sure that they do not transgress the boundaries of dharma after they have gotten into power. See, my civic duty doesn't just end by voting. After I put them in power, I have to make sure that they adhere to dharma also. Passive acceptance of adharma is a travesty on citizenship. Active resistance to evil is truly enlightened citizenship. We have two roles to play here. One is to get political leaders to follow through on policies that are in line with the greater good, and two, awaken ourselves to a higher order of citizenship, to give teeth to the democratic process, to make it serve dharma, and that is to make dharmacracy out of democracy. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan gives the best example of directives for a citizen. Arjuna represents you and I, the one who is trying to live the barest minimum of a citizen. Bhagavan gives the ideal of a citizen there. Arjuna sees the Kauravas standing in front of him on the other side, and he becomes weak. He feels sorry for them. He loses his ability to function as a soldier. He had fought many a battle in the past, and he had vanquished many a foe, and he had never felt sorry for anybody. Now, he lost his strength. He had never lost his strength before. But in this case, it was different. Please pay attention to this. This is where the crux of the matter with regard to citizenship and ideal citizenship and bare minimum miserly citizenship will come into play. This case for Arjuna was different. Standing on the other side was his own cousins, his own teacher, his own grandfather, his own people. They are my people. And when that minus entered the heart of Arjuna, when the minus enters anybody's heart, we are sure to mix up dharma and adharma. His weakness resulted from feeling sorry, something he had never done before, and the bow fell from his hand. He trembled and sweated and became feverish. The weakness resulted from feeling sorry, not to fight and kill, from feeling sorry, not to fight and kill the people. He had done this before, but to fight and kill my people. Minus is the result of ignorance. So, weakness came from feeling sorry, which came from minus, which came from ignorance. This is the weakness that came from that feeling of sorry. That feeling of sorry came from feeling of minus, and that minus came from ignorance. This is the connection. Arjuna is ready to sacrifice the welfare of the whole nation, the whole of posterity, to protect his own selfish desire to save my people. This is the scourge of citizenship, when we think like that. When we think only about sacrificing the whole nation from what I want, for my own ends, for my own needs, such a person is the worst example of a citizen. And that is what he's trying to do, but Bhagavan will not let him do. Lord Krishna will not let him be like this. He's ready to sacrifice everybody for what he wants. Bhagavan says, no, it is the wrong course of action. It will lead you to hell, he tells him. If you neglect the society and cause further disintegration of the society. From where has this kashmalam, this impurity, kashmalam is a very strong word, this dirt, this impurity, from where has it entered your mind, he asked. Tyakto tishta parantapa, cast it out and rise up, O hero. You have a nation to save. Rise up to your role as a citizen of the nation, not merely of your household, but of the whole nation. Expand the circumference of your identification from just your family to the whole nation and to the whole earth. You are the child and product not merely of your family, but of an entire cosmos, of an ancient culture that is rooted in goodness and welfare for all, including plants and animals. You owe your life to this world. Become a true citizen of the world. Great minds and great nations go together. They always go together. Small minds and small nations always go together. The more we identify with the affairs of the nation, the bigger we become. Bhagavan is presenting to Arjuna an opportunity to grow in stature by identifying with the whole nation, by growing out of selfishness, by growing out of his selfish encrustations into the largeness of heart which Kunti describes. Make your heart big and embrace the whole world and serve the world. It is an opportunity open to all of us to actualize our citizenship by doing this. This requires a change from within, a change in outlook and attitude, a coming of age, a psychic maturity in all of us. Don't just be an inhabitant. Inhabit with an attitude of positive dynamism, with a big heart and long arms that stretches out to embrace everybody. Live and die for Trinidad and Tobago. Bhagavan tells Arjuna that if he dies while serving the nation, he will go straight to Swarga. This is how we have to live. Work ethics. Quite often we hear people saying, oh, I have the best job in the world. I have nothing to do. They are traitor to the nation. I have the best job in the world. I have nothing to do. Where are the demands of enlightened citizenship, and where are our minds? A father is asking the other father, one father is asking another father, what does your son want to do when he grows up? The other father said, well, he wants to become a garbage collector. So this father said, but that is a kind of strange career you want to follow? He said, yes. He thinks that the garbage collectors only work on Tuesdays. From the childhood itself, he's already foreseeing a future where he doesn't have to work. One day of the week only he'll have to work. Very often we hear people saying like that, I have the best job in the world. Huh? I have nothing to do. He's a parasite to the society. Huh? Hanumanji, on his way to Lanka, encounters Simhika. Simhika is a parasite to the society. She represents that. And immediately he removes her. Parasite has no place in the society. He immediately removes the Simhika. Citizenship requires us to produce more than what we consume and give more than what we take. Two fellas in our country, wonderful thing. I tell you, we have wonderful citizens here. Two fellas passing through the village. One digging a hole, and the second fella pulling back the dirt in the hole. And they're passing through the whole village doing that, going up the road. So the villagers thought, a very strange practice, what's going on? The villagers accosted them, what's going on with all you? One digging a hole and one pulling back the hole? They say, yeah, man. The boss hired 3 of us. One's supposed to dig the hole, one's supposed to put the plant, and the third one is supposed to fill back the hole with the dirt. But the middle fella, he absent today. People claim also. I doing my duty, you know. Dutifully. And beautifully. I doing my duty. So, please remember, in fulfilling my duty is not just I have something here and I'm doing it and I want to get over it and go home. That is parasitic existence. If I do not identify with my country, if I do not identify with my nation, if I do not identify with the world in which I live and live dynamically serving that world, I have really not lived up to my ideal of a citizen, lived up to the ideal of a citizen. Enlightened citizenship is to be awakened to our elevated place and our critical role in the democracy, and to give teeth to the democratic process to make it into Dharmacracy. Only when we have fulfilled that role, then we have truly become citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Otherwise, we are just inhabitants. We are just there because by birth, I found myself there. That type of existence is a far cry from the demands of enlightened citizenship. I thank you very much for having me. Hari Om.
Within our midst this evening also is Pandita Indrani Rampasad, Pandit Pandit Dunat of Sangragrandi, Sankhya Television, and Pandit Sham. We will now listen to a composition by Rabindranath Tagore, one of our modern sages, through the mouths of our darling primary schoolers of the Chinmaya Vidyalaya, where the mind is without fear. Please give them a warm welcome.
Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habits, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom. My Father, let my country awake!
Welcome this evening also to Mr. Tony Hall, and accompanying him also is a research student from abroad, as well as Mr. Bharat Patel of the Bank of Baroda. As was mentioned before, the members of the Sansad came together and discussed our thoughts. They were distilled and presented. Here, at this juncture, we would like to place in words our resolve as well as inspire our actions. To present the resolutions on Dharmacracy, Enlightened Citizenship, is Mrs. Anushka Tilak Singh, a social worker with the Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh and the PRO of Seva International of Trinidad and Tobago.
Namaste. Whereas Trinidad and Tobago has harvested worldviews, experiences, values, aspirations, and aspects of several civilizations, and whereas we, the citizens, share the common aspirations of working out a shining destiny for all our peoples, be it resolved that as Hindus, we work toward actualizing our citizenship by removing our own selfishness in the national interest. Be it further resolved that we Hindus support groups, NGOs, and all other parties that identify with the larger interest of Trinidad and Tobago. And be it further resolved that we as Hindus work actively to change laws and systems which are antithetical to Dharma or the national interest. Finally, and be it further resolved that we as Hindus encourage all peoples of Trinidad and Tobago to own up to their duties and responsibilities in truly becoming citizens of the nation.
In order to carry the resolution, let me explain this. The resolutions are aimed at the Hindus who are present here. We have invited guests. We wouldn't put them under any strain to participate in the resolutions. It is aimed at all the member organizations. Our observers are also included, and the member of different organizations also that make up, and the observer organizations. All other Hindus are included. It's addressed to you. So when we make the resolution, we have already read the resolutions. Now as we do the sankalp, your duty is to participate if you want, if you wish to. If you have a difference, you have an objection to any of the resolution, you can stand now and say. Say Om. So all of you to whom the resolutions are addressed, I ask you to stand. Without exception, all Hindus who are, because nobody objected, to kindly stand. Are you hearing me? I'm asking all of you who did not object to stand, all Hindus to stand, to give voice and empower the resolution, demonstrate your acceptance of the not revolution. Tony wouldn't let me live this down. Resolution. So we'll do that by saying in the ancient tradition, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu 3 times. Together. We'll raise our hands like this. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. बोले सच्चे सनातन धर्म की, त्रिनाद टोबैगो देश की, जय श्री राम।
May 2015 to May 2016 is indeed a very special time for Chinmaya Mission International. It is the birth centenary year of our founder, Pujya Swami Chinmayananda. To speak a little more on the events planned, I call on Swami Prakashananda.
Thank you, Annie. From the 8th of May this year to the 8th of May next year, the mission across the globe is organizing a large number of programs, just along the lines of what the mission do. For example, we'll have international Gita chanting competitions, essays, quizzes. We'll have speeches and symposiums on the life of Gurudev, and we'll have yajnas and so many other things. We'll have jyotis, lights, lamps being transported across the world also, and all such things. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, we are going to have 108 days yajna starting on Makar Sankranti in January in 108 temples. And we'll have a jyoti here as well, moving from temple to temple and all that sort of thing, right? But in this centenary year, starting on the 8th of May, there's also one very, very significant program of Chinmaya Mission. Just as we have had movies made on the life of great Mahatma Gandhi and so many other great souls, like Tukaram and Eknath and all, I've seen movies. We have had recently a movie made on the life of this great master, Param Pujya Swami Chinmayananda. It is called On a Quest. And this movie will be released during that year, from 8th of May to 8th of May next year. So sometime inside there, we'll be releasing this movie. We have here a trailer that we want to show you of this movie. Really well made, first-class production made in Bollywood.
I want him found, Gupta, in Johnson's interrogation room.
The struggle is not over yet. I was left to die. India is free, not Indians. Religion is the opium of the masses. I'm going to catch and expose those drug peddlers. Why is there so much of evil and injustice, or disease, hatred? If this is the best God can do, then I'm not impressed. How can you have action-less action? What does that even mean?
So we've come to the formal end of this part of the program, and we are now about to have dinner and share in common discussions on fraternity. But before you leave the hall, there's one thing that we'd like to present to you, which is a calendar of all of the Hindu events of most of our organizations that are members of the Sansad. This is free and just a gift to you all as a token of appreciation. So as you leave, first there will be a procedure by which we will observe how dinner is served. Member organizations will be ushered down first. There is no head table this evening, and the only reason for doing that is that they will be strategically placed amongst everyone to engage in good conversation. So after all will ask you all will please proceed to the annex